Hi guys, welcome to Full Time Devils. I'm Adam McCullough, here's Stephen Harrison, and we are joined by Mr. John Shin. And welcome back to Ian Smith,
we found
the
him.
comedian.
Yeah, we found him.
We've found
so long.
him. Ian, I've missed. Can I have a hug? Can you hug me like?
I'm Adam McCullough, here's Stephen Harrison.
Yeah, there we go. It's nice to have you back, Ian. Where have you been?
He's been writing Christmas card cracker jokes, hasn't he?
I've just been. I was trying to think of something cool that I've been doing, but I couldn't. I've just been busy. Yeah, I got
You've been
lost
doing
for a week.
stand-up and stuff, haven't you?
He has been on the Front Free podcast, which he was just talking about. And honestly, if you've not listened to it, head over to iTunes after this is finished and check out the Front Free podcast. It is, hands down, probably the best football podcast on the internet, definitely.
On the internet.
Yeah,
Check it out.
Not just saying that either, it's absolutely wicked. Go and check it out.
And there's loads on the internet, isn't there?
There's loads. Yeah,
There's massive.
Everything on there that you could ever want, including videos like ours, like this one here. Today we're talking about the number 9 shirt at Manchester United. It's currently occupied by Zlatan Ibrahimovic, previously occupied by Anthony Martial, Radamel Falcao, Andy Cole, great names like that. And at the moment, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is in the number 9 shirt. Rumours over whether he's going to stay at Manchester United. Will he go for the bigger bucks in America, or will he stay at Manchester United on reasonably big bucks or go elsewhere? There's been a lot of talk about that, and as a result, people have been asking who is going to be wearing the number 9 shirt for Manchester United next season. So I've got Steve, John, and Ian. They are prepped with their selections. Now they're going to make their argument for who they want to be number 9 for United next season. And now remember, I've got to pick a winner based on how good their argument is, not particularly what they said or what their player said or how much I agree with their player that they have selected. So it's down to how good their argument is. We will be popping into the comments in between each section. So Howson's going to go first, then it's going to be Ian, then we're going to go to John. And every time we go in between those, we are going to be coming to comments as well. And then at the end, we'll have a little chat about something else. So Steve, the moment is almost ready for you to give your argument. Let me get in the comments first a little bit though, before we go to you. At the moment, William Rowan saying Lacazette, Ian saying Griezmann, Daniel saying give it to Marshall, Mbappe says Odisi, on my own there. Ian would win on the merit of his jokes, says Utkarsh. Utkarsh with an early prediction for his winner. Griezmann is a versatile player. Dybala, says William. Zlatan, says Taos Jose to buy clone, says Zlatan. I don't know what that chap's on about. But anyway, let's move on from that and to Stephen Howson with his selection and why.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic should be at Manchester United's number 9 for next season. And the reason being, there's been a lot of turmoil, there's been a lot of change, there's been a lot of uprooting, and there's a massive lack of character and leadership at Manchester United at the moment. And I think, yes, he is the club's leading scorer right at the moment. There's possibly a bit of an over-reliance on him. He is 35. He is on the downward slope of his career. But the time is now for Manchester United to enter a period of as much stability as we can muster, and that would for me include continuation with Zlatan up front, keep him as the number 9 for next season, keep continuing to add to the squad around him, because let's face it, he's not the problem for Manchester United at the moment, is he? Other players, other positions are more important. If there's any shape or form or potential of us keeping hold of Zlatan and keeping him in the number 9, then I say we jump at the chance and we continue to build other parts of the squad. Yes, he's going to need replacing eventually, and there's obviously great candidates for who can do that, but next season is going to be a continuation of the building process that Jose Mourinho's done, and it's going to take a couple of years at least for him to get to the position where he wants to be, and I think that would be the time right then to bring in or possibly promote someone into that number 9 spot once Zlatan has maybe added a league title in England to his collection of medals, which is many, and lives in a separate house.
Nice. So pretty much Zlatan for the continuity, his character and his experience that he brings in. You don't want to see too much change at a time when we've had so much change, yeah?
There's going to be change in the summer regardless. We know we're going to probably spend in excess of 100 million again. I really wouldn't be shocked if that happened. I think there's going to be several players go. We've just seen Bastian Schweinsteiger confirmed gone today. That's another, and again, it's the leaders and characters and people of experience of winning things that Manchester United are losing. Is Michael Carrick going to stick around next year? We don't know. Is Wayne Rooney going to stick around next year? We need to keep hold of as many leaders and many experienced winners in the squad as we can. Zlatan is both of those things. There's no dip in his form this season. He's been consistently good. I think there's possibly an element that he could be a little bit more clinical, and there's possibly maybe even an element that some of the other players around him could have chipped in with goals and we wouldn't have had so much pressure on him. But I think he's still good enough to do this next season, and I would like it. I mean, that's not to say that I don't think someone like a Griezmann isn't going to come in, because I think that's possible, but he's not really a number 9 for me. Number 9, Zlatan Ibrahimovic next season. Let's keep the train going and build around him until it's time and we're capable and stable enough to replace him with someone else.
Cheers for that, Steve. Zainab agrees with you. She says, yes, Zlatan. Zlatan was my answer, says Zainab. Agreed, says Iban. Cavani says Bobby. Will Cavani pop up in the debate? Who knows? We'll find out later. Verratti and Griezmann says Afterling. It's the huge number 9 debate. Verratti doesn't get a mention, man. Come on. Cavani, Griezmann, Lukaku, Dybala, or Ibra, says Bobby. So he's just listed a load of
Angel
strikers.
Gomez, someone says in the comments, not a number 9, so that's not going to happen. Certainly not when he's
Do
16.
people just hear, this guy's a great talent, and then every time someone hears of, we need a replacement for him. Oh yeah, I know, he's good. But he doesn't play in that position, mate. So
he's like an Iniesta kind of guy.
And what about Benzema,
Forward
says Riyadh? That's a good shout, to be fair.
Benzema's not.
Whether Real Madrid will let him go or not, I'm not too sure. But it could be the time when they like to just cyclically replace players, don't they? They don't like to hang around with the same player for too long. But anyway, talking about that, we've got Ian here for a reason, and Ian is next. Ian, I want to know who you want to be wearing the number 9 shirt next season and why.
Okay, so I feel like I'm not as prepped as, sometimes when you've got an opinion and you're like, I'm ready to say it, and then you hear someone else's opinion and you're like, oh, that was good. I agree with all those points. So
remember, the whole point of this debate is to prove him wrong and to squash his opinion as much as possible and make yours seem the best. This is a competition, remember. Ian.
Okay. Well, what I just said then about thinking Howson's opinion was great, as being sarcastic, I thought it was bumbling nonsense from a clearly drunk man. I've gone with Marcus Rashford, and there's a lot of reasons. One, because of like the culture of United and the history of United, of having those like youth players that then develop into being like a real incredible like loyal spine of the team. And I don't see where we're gonna get that with one of kind of Mourinho's criticisms of not championing youth players. Also, I think like with someone like Ibrahimovic, it sort of changes the style of play slightly away from what Manchester United might traditionally want to do. You end up doing a lot of those kind of Fellaini, longer balls, holding up the play, things like that. I think the thing with Rashford is a lot of the time now, youth players at a big club like Manchester United or a club like Chelsea, they don't really get to excel until their early mid-20s. Whereas some of the great players that we've had at United and other clubs, like Wayne Rooney coming in the starting lineup when he was so young, that I think when you're 19, 20, you're kind of at your peak of a real explosive talent. And I think if you look at Rashford, how he played against Middlesbrough, there are certain defenders who he can take out of the game with pace completely. So you can have a through ball and completely cut up and aside, and they can't compete with that. And he's definitely still developing, and his finishing isn't perfect. Same with Ibrahimovic, who's missed a lot of chances. But I think if you get world-class players around Rashford, like with Marcel and Mkhitaryan on either side, maybe a real world-class, incredible number 10. And I don't know, I think if you have like the solid team behind him, he is good enough and fit enough and quick enough to, I think, make a real impact. Maybe not in all the games, but that's my argument. I think he seems lovely. Done.
Do you think Marcus Rashford, we could rely on him to get 20 plus goals if he was our main number 9?
I think so, yeah. I mean, this season is difficult because he's been playing on the right wing quite a lot. So the first season he played, I wrote down a stat, but I've lost where I wrote it. Oh, so he got nine goals in 21 games in his first season. Yeah, I mean, if he's playing like regularly, I think he would be aiming for 12 goals a season. I think he would do that. I don't think he's going to get less than like 15. And especially with like a quality side around him. I guess it's one of the things where you don't want to. He seems to have potential to be world class, but if he doesn't play, you wonder at what point it's going to get when he just doesn't play anymore. Like I wouldn't mind if he was a backup for one more season, but I think if you buy someone like Griezmann, if Griezmann was playing in number 9 or Lukaku as well, then he's only ever going to be the kind of super sub or someone who's on the right wing because of his pace. And then we might never know how good he could be, because he could be incredible.
I totally agree with you in that aspect, in terms of if we do bring in after Zlatan, whether that's this summer, next summer, another big striker like a Lukaku. I don't particularly think Griezmann, because I think Griezmann's a completely different player. But I think if we brought in like a Lukaku or a Kane, what that would mean for Rashford would be probably devastating in terms of his longer term future at Manchester United. So I do agree with you in that terms of that sense. Now we're going to go to a quick break for a second, so we'll be right back. Right then, Ian has made his selection. Ian has selected Rashford, Marcus Rashford, for the number 9 shirt, based on tradition and style of play that he would bring with him, and that culture of bringing through youth players. You've gone with Zlatan Ibrahimovic for kind of opposite in terms of the experience and the leadership qualities that he will bring to the team, and what we will lose if we lost him out of the squad completely. Now we're going to go to John for John's decision. John, who is your choice for the number 9 shirt in what is the huge... Actually, John, you have a little think. I need to hit up some of the comments for a second. So, Riyadh said he's still really young in terms of Rashford. We could play a Rashford or Marshall up front, says Bobby. So he agrees with you. Thomas agreed with Ian 100%. Develop Rashford. Rashford and Marshall the next York and Cole, says Luke. I'm not okay. Get his name. Good name, that, innit?
He's never touched one.
Like this video alone for Ian, says make Ian great again, says Owen. Zlatan scored against Liverpool when every other player was dabbing that day. Huh? Ian is back, yes. And Emil Heskey for number 9. Haven't heard a Heskey joke in a long, long time.
I forgot about Heskey.
On that note, John, talk to me. What's your choice for number 9?
Honestly, I think Steven and Ian both made some great comments, but I think somebody like Anthony Martial would be a fantastic selection for the number 9 position. Ian opted Rashford for somebody with that's going to preserve the culture of Manchester United, with the youth, with the pace, with the exuberant style of play. Steve mentioned the experience, the leadership, the goal-scoring mentality of Zlatan, and I think somebody like Anthony Martial can bring a good combination of both. He's not the youngest, but he's a bit more experienced and a little bit more older than Rashford, and I think. My comparison is going to refer back to a moment back in time, maybe 2011. I don't remember the exact year when we had Robin van Persie, when we had Wayne Rooney. They were on fire, and there was a game after post-match. I think it was against Aston Villa where Robin van Persie scored a goal, that fantastic goal after Wayne Rooney played him in a beautiful play, and he smashed it in on the volley. And the interviewer asked Robin van Persie, he said, "How's your style of play? You guys both sort of seem to occupy." The same position, the style of play is that you guys seem to occupy the same style of same position, but at the same time, you guys play effectively very well. And Robin van Persie said, we both like to play and read each other's games. We're almost like 9 and halves. And I think Zlatan Ibrahimovic, being that old player that he is, I think he has not too much legs left in him. You can see this season as the games drag on for him. Yes, he's played many games, and that's completely understandable, and that's exceptional considering the age that he's given, how old he is. But at the same time, I don't think that same leg is going to carry him on next season. And considering Jose Mourinho's style, sort of building his team around Zlatan's play, obviously Zlatan being the spearheading the goals, he's obviously the sole leading goal scorer. He's smashing in goals left, right, and center. That's sort of Jose's style, and I think by incorporating somebody like Anthony Martial to play alongside Zlatan Ibrahimovic, potentially as a 9, maybe having Zlatan as the 10, or maybe, like I just mentioned, having them both playing this 9.5 roles. I think that might be very effective. Maybe, like Ian mentioned, the long balls coming into Zlatan. For instance, it's a bit difficult for us to break a team down. Long balls can come into Zlatan. Zlatan's got a very decent chest of touch. He'll drop that down. And he has all these good abilities to be able to take players on, play players through, and I think Martial can read that exceptionally well, play alongside him. And yeah, I think that's probably my best go at having Martial at number 9.
So you're going to give Martial his old number 9 shirt back, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it's...
I bet his marketing people will be absolutely buzzing.
I think Steve's got it right. He's definitely not going to smile, but you know he'll...
So, we got 3 very different options. And what I find interesting about this here is that you've all gone for players that are currently at Manchester United.
Shows everyone's quite content with how the squad is, I suppose.
Either quite content, quite realistic, or
mental.
You don't think that we're going to bring in a striker. Now, if we were to make a transfer, now guys in the comments...
Can I argue back on some of their points, actually? Seeing as though I go first, I don't get the chance to comment on both of theirs.
But they don't get the chance. They didn't really comment on yours either.
Well, they did. They said it was mint, which was right. But I'm going to fight back because this is a debate, and it's not. If it's a debate, you have to be able to answer each other's points. So what I'm going to say is, in terms of Rashford for me is excellent against teams that play high lines, but can he operate when a midfield collapses onto a defence and he's got 4 players around him? I don't think his hold-up play, I don't think his link-up play is that good, that developed yet. That's not to say it's not going to be. I think his goal-scoring record for someone his age is actually quite good, and he is very effective. I like him coming from the wider areas. The same with Martial, actually. I like Martial coming. And I see the point John was trying to make, that Van Persie and Rooney did sort of occupy the same space a little bit. And that allowed them to drift around. And whereas Rooney and Van Persie drifted sort of up and down the pitch, you could have Martial and Rashford, with one of them being the lead number 9, drifting left and central a little bit. And I think that could probably work in terms of finding movement. But I do think, and if we are going to sign a striker, I do think you will sign a replacement for Zlatan rather than just promoting one of the lads we've already got, unless we're planning on signing a massive name for that left wing. Neymar's been talked up recently, or he's been talking it up himself by the sounds of things. I don't think that's likely to happen. Then I think you are probably going to see a signing. And I think if you do sign someone, then somebody like a Lukaku that can hold it up would be ideal. But again, I think that's a player that might be destined to go back to Chelsea. So it makes sense to go with someone that's possibly already at the club. Look to strengthen in those other areas, because look at the turnover of players we've had recently. It's absolutely madness. We were just looking at the players that Louis van Gaal signed. Falcao, Di Maria, Schweinsteiger as well. All of these players, Schneidlin, Memphis, have come into the club and gone out of the club again. So there's been such a turnover of players from the end of Fergie's era, which wasn't long ago really, through Moyes, through Louis van Gaal. There's been such a massive turnover of players that I want to see some continuity. And I think you can build from that stable platform.
I think also with the way football has evolved, and with the way that most systems are a one-striker system, with 2 wingers, I think Martial's position may be best a little bit out wide in a front 3. I think that might become his best position, wide left of a front 3. So I know it's great to have options, and I think Martial can definitely do a job through the middle. I'd like to see him given a chance more through the middle. But I do think Marcus Rashford will eventually be our number 9. Whether that's next season or not, I don't know. Now, I'm going to go to some comments to help me with the decision making. By the way, let me just ask you guys, for one transfer each, if you could get a transfer in, yeah, who would your transfer be?
1995 Cantona.
No, that's fine in now.
Oh, okay. I think Lewandowski is the best number 9 in world football. The reason I never bring up I'd love Lewandowski is because, I'd love Messi, but they're not realistic, are they? I think people bring up the likes of Lukaku and Griezmann because we think that they're gettable. I think they're gettable players, but for me, I said it at the start of the season, if I could have just took Wayne Rooney out and swapped him with someone, Lewandowski would have been that man. I think he's an excellent number 9. I think the way he plays football would suit this team as well. He's great in the air. He's good at hold-up play. He's an absolute deadly finisher, and I think he'd really suit the English game. Mad to think that Blackburn missed out on signing him because of that volcano in Iceland, and then the rest is history. He ended up going signing for Dortmund.
What about yourself, Ian? If you could make one big box signing?
Well, I wouldn't go for a striker. If we could only make one signing.
It's a number 9 debate, Ian.
Oh, I thought he meant
Ian
like,
does what he wants, so no matter. Go on, Ian.
All right. No, okay. If it's a striker, well, Howson's made a good point because I was gonna say, like Lukaku, because I think like that thing of he's got like the pace. He's like a mixture of Rashford and Ibrahimovic, where he does have the pace, and he's got the strength, and he does seem gettable, but he is going to cost. He's going to cost 60, 70 million.
No thing. To Ed Woodward.
I'd go with Lukaku, but yeah, there are better strikers out there who just probably seem like they would cost too much money or crazy money. Or Neymar. If we can actually get Neymar, even if we had to pay like 180 million for him, that'd be so good. That'd be worth it.
I love Neymar as well. I think he's so underrated. It's unbelievable. Like, people talk about him like he's some one-trick pony who hasn't achieved anything. And then you check his stats, mate, and you see that he's like the greatest Brazilian striker ever. Listen, people talk about Pele, but everyone knows Pele scored goals against like school football teams and all that. Like, Pele's record is fraudulent. It's so fraudulent. It's unbelievable. And I will say that.
Pele good.
And also, I've got something else that I want to talk about, seeing as it's international break. Wembley Stadium. Where's your Sir Bobby Charlton statue?
Yeah, Wembley.
I was thinking about this morning. Jeff Hurst.
Talking about number 9s.
Jeff Hurst. Jeff Hurst wouldn't have
That's
even
who our
been
number 9 should be. He's only 2 goals off Wayne Rooney. Bring him back.
Jeff Hurst wouldn't even been in the team if Duncan Edwards wasn't sadly involved in the Munich air disaster. All these guys, just because they're based down London and they played for West Ham, some Cockney teams, they get overrated. But let's be real. Would never have won it without the boys from United. And Sir Bobby Charlton should be getting a statue at Wembley
Today.
I think that we should make that a full-time Devils petition.
Now. I've got an ad. I'll go and do it.
I've got some.
Yeah, it has to be today.
Has to be today. John's on his next flight over.
Ian's the worst statue ever. It just looked like it been done by some schoolboys, like just rushed.
Ian, how do you feel about Schweinsteiger?
I mean, yeah, I was surprised because it come out of nowhere for me a bit. Just it was off to Chicago Fire, but I mean, yeah, there's no point keeping him. He probably had to go, and he seems like a nice guy. You just want him to play football rather than be on the bench. It seemed like he got like massively screwed around really by Van Gaal as well. I don't know. It's good that he's gone, but I'm sad.
John, who's your transfer, mate? Back to the number 9 debate, by the way, guys.
Okay.
I've got over the
I was
Wembley
about to say
statue
Bakayoko
thing.
or something.
Yeah, I got over all that stuff. Go on.
All right. I think for a number 9, I think we'd have to look at potentially the 2 biggest signings, Lukaku or Griezmann. I agree with Housen in the sense that I don't think Griezmann would play a 9 in our system, but I also don't feel comfortable signing somebody like Lukaku. Obviously, a lot of the people who are pro Lukaku would say something like, he's a proven goal scorer. He's done it time and time again in the Premier League for a few seasons now. And I agree. In that respect, definitely somebody like Lukaku would be a positive asset to the squad. But I don't know. I'd personally go for Griezmann in that sense. Yes, he's not the 9 that we're particularly looking for, but I think somebody like Griezmann's quality, somebody like Griezmann's experience, definitely coming into the Premier League would definitely light it up and make a huge, huge benefit to the squad, regardless of Lukaku's decent goal-scoring record. I mean, and I'm not saying this here saying that Lukaku is garbage and that we don't need Lukaku. I mean, if we have Lukaku as well, that would be an absolutely amazing bargain. But for me, if I had to pick one, I would definitely go Griezmann.
See, I think if we sign Griezmann as well, it doesn't affect Rashford's future too much, and I like that. I like that a little bit more. And I love Griezmann and Lukaku, but I like that Rashford's future wouldn't be bothered. Right, guys, I've kind of nearly made my decision in my mind, but I'm going to give you guys like 10 seconds or a sentence each to sum up and try and convince me of your arguments one more game. Go on, Steve.
I think Rashford and Marshall are both better coming off the left, and I think, as I mentioned, the key thing in what I've mentioned was just continuity, stable platform, build other areas of the side. We've seen the goal scoring prowess of Zlatan, and if you add somebody like a Griezmann to that right-hand side for next season and then maybe replace him in another season with someone like Lukaku, that's going to give Manchester United the platform for continual stage-by-stage development, and I think that's what we need at the moment. Far too often we've seen players come in and blast out again, and I think that we need a little bit more stability. With all the manager changes, with all the transfer changes, with all the experience and leadership we are losing, Zlatan needs to stay and lead the line for Manchester United next season.
Longest 10 seconds of my life. Ian.
Similar things to Howson, really. I think.
Come on, Ian, you got to shit on his argument.
All right, well, I'm not going to say any of the crap that he's just said. I think we should keep Rashford. We should concentrate on building like a stable, powerful midfield, a stable defence, and then that will allow us to do more attacking, quick football. And with people like Rashford and Martial and Mkhitaryan working in a front three, the pace and the counter-attacks would just be incredible, like no other team in the Premier League. So I think with Rashford, we could have a quick, young front line that would grow and work together, and over the years it would be unstoppable.
John, go on.
10 seconds. I can only imagine Anthony Martial's face when he gets the number 9. He lines up Manchester United. He's got dead face, not even smiling. That's all what I'm looking for.
That's supposed to convince me.
Be a good hitman, Anthony Martial.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good.
Anthony Martial's a legend.
And then maybe he's got that slight Mona Lisa-esque smirk, like, did he smile, did he not? You know what I'm saying? Like, that'll be fun.
Why is it not made like the papers or like online debates more about why he doesn't smile?
He's French.
Because it's crazy, isn't it?
That's the next big full-time
Apart from
Devils
Paddy
debate.
Yeah.
Paddy Evra took all of Anthony Martial's smiling.
I'll tell you
ability.
something about smiling. Antonio Valencia. Now check this, listen to me. Check when Antonio Valencia was with his wife, yeah? All the pictures on social media before he left his wife, he does not smile. As soon as he got a divorce, he's smiling in every picture. What does that tell you at home, kids? Don't get married. I hope Trish isn't watching this. Right. I've made my decision, guys. And you know who it is? From Withen Shore, he's born to fight.
How?
He's born to play.
Next season.
Red and white.
He's not ready for it next
Ian,
season.
you win, mate.
That's nonsense.
Yes.
I'll tell you why Ian wins. Because I love Ian.
Because Ian's back.
And I don't like you. And Ian's back. Back with a bang. He's winning debates.
want to come back.
It's all going down. Ian, thank you. Basically, guys, we had to let Ian win, otherwise he wouldn't have come on again. But you guys, where? Up here, yeah. Press the I button, and you can get a vote in for who you think won the debate. Ian, thank you for joining us, mate. Tell them about your podcast and things like that. So in between your appearances on here, they can keep in touch with you.
I do a podcast with Jimmy Bullard and Rob Beckett. I gig in a lot. Go on my website, have a look at my gigs.
You got your own website, Ian?
Oh, my website is awful. I've made it myself. It's so bad.
Have you got any games on there?
I've got any games on it.
I think if you put an addictive game on your website, you can change it.
Oh yeah, so my game is my website is footballmanager.com. You can find all my stuff there, and yeah, that's it really.
All right, that's amazing, Ian. We'll put the links in below for the dates of Ian's shows and his website and stuff.
Go heckle him.
John, plug Global Reds.
Global Reds TV. That's my own personal channel. Obviously, it's nothing compared to Full Time Devils, and I'd rather you guys come watch me here and not say I'm Park Ji-sung's dad. But besides that, right?
Rather not say I'm Park Ji-sung's dad. Anyway.
You got anything you want to plug?
Yeah, come and find me on YouTube. I've got Stephen Howson FC. It's a football channel where I talk all the shit. So come and find me on there. And he's got one as well, which is Adam McCullough TV. Go and find him on there. We're both doing all right. Both at about 30,000. So there's about 200 and some thousand of you that aren't following us. So come find us.
Yeah, fix up. No bids. Right, guys, we're done. Producer Chris has his own YouTube channel as well. Only joking.
It's called PewDiePie. I don't know if you've ever met him. That's PEWDIEPIE.